when you tell your client that their doctor is wrong, they're not hearing that their doctor is wrong. What they're hearing is, so you think I'm stupid. You think I'm stupid for believing my doctor, who went to school for 4 years to learn how to fix the problem, that you took a weekend seminar to try to help me with. And I'm stupid for listening to my doctor. That's what you're trying to tell me. And they might not say that. They might look at you and say, okay, and smile, and just completely lose trust in you forever. At Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym.
Everybody starts with the best case scenario in mind.
Never sell anything to anybody who is not in the market for what you have.
The only reason we work out is to create the opportunity to recover.
And the healthcare provider of the future is the coach.
And this is why you guys need to get paid well, because what you're doing is really, really hard work.
Welcome back to another episode of Turning Pro on the Active Life podcast. I'm Larry Gaier, and we're here with Dr. Sean Pastuch.
Hello.
What I would love for you to help us do is understand something I have faced so many times as a coach, and before I started to really gain the experience and the wisdom as a trainer to be able to handle a question myself, it crushed me every single time, and I didn't know what to do. What do you do when a client that you want to help, who's dealing with some struggle, frustration, ache, or pain, says, oh, my doctor told me I shouldn't fill in the blank, and everything about that is contrary to what you believe this person should be doing for their health and well-being?
It's a really hard situation. It's one that I think too many coaches run into. I'm glad you're asking me about it. So the first thing I would speak to here is what not to do, because I want to throw a huge Family Feud red X on what not to do. Mm-hmm. If you haven't watched Family Feud, I don't know if we can get Cleary to drop in the sound effect of the right now, but
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
So here's what you're going to avoid doing at all costs when you hear that. Avoid telling your client that their doctor is wrong,
or physical therapist, or chiropractor, whatever the clinician is.
All three of them are doctors. Yeah. Doctor of physical therapy, doctor of chiropractic, medical doctor. So always avoid telling your client that their doctor is wrong. I'm going to tell you why. Even if their doctor is wrong, when you tell your client that their doctor is wrong, they're not hearing that their doctor is wrong. What they're hearing is, so you think I'm stupid. You think I'm stupid for believing my doctor, who went to school for 4 years to learn how to fix the problem, that you took a weekend seminar to try to help me with. And I'm stupid for listening to my doctor. That's what you're trying to tell me. And they might not say that. They might look at you and say, okay, and smile, and just completely lose trust in you forever until you really, really, really work to earn it back, and will ultimately need to apologize for having said that in the past. So we're always looking for agreement. We're always looking for agreement. And I believe that when a doctor tells a client of yours that they cannot do something that you know they can do, or you believe they can do, first and foremost, that's the greatest opportunity for you to walk into that doctor's world and create a relationship with somebody who could end up making referrals to you for a long time. You need to go in with contrition. You need to go in looking to learn, as opposed to looking to go in and convince the doctor that they are wrong. So the way that I would handle this with the client, first and foremost, ask the client what they went to the doctor for. So let's have this conversation as if you're the client, Larry. So you come to me and you say what?
Well, so I was thinking about the exercises that you wanted to have me do, and I'm not sure that I want to do it. My doctor told me I shouldn't lift more than 50 pounds. And I know that, a lot of people in here really like doing that exercise. I'm afraid to do that. I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly right now, your doctor wants you to avoid lifting 50 pounds or more. And so you're a little bit uncomfortable doing it and you want to avoid it. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So let's do that. let's for right now, let's go ahead and reduce the amount of weight that we're working with. We'll change the exercise to make you absolutely comfortable. Does that make you feel safe here in the gym?
Mm-hmm.
Great. After the workout, I would love to talk to you about how what we did today felt, and then what we can potentially do to progress this over time so that you can get back to doing everything that you want to do and never have to do anything you don't want to do. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Great. Workout's over. We come back to the client. So Larry, I know that you were a little bit concerned about today's workout. How did it feel to go through it?
It was fine. It was great.
So no pain at all.
No, I mean, it was a little, nothing more than usual, but, I know you gave me those guidelines and there was nothing above those. Above
Great.
What it shouldn't
Great.
feel.
Great.
Yeah.
So I want to first let you know that if we never exceed the 50 pounds again, we can still get you fit. It's a different kind of fit. I want to be straightforward with you. There's a reason why we lift heavy weights. And if we don't ever do that again, it will be a different kind. We'll have to do different things to get you where you want to go. And that's okay. I have a question for you. When you told your doctor what was going on, how exactly did you explain it to your doctor?
I just told him that, all the different ways that it hurts when it hurts, and that I've always felt some discomfort on, certain kinds of exercises. And he told me that just to be safe, I should not exceed 50 pounds on certain exercises. Did
you ask him by chance how long he wants you to avoid exceeding 50 pounds?
Yeah, it just kind of came up as, in general.
Got it.
To be safe, if I don't want to, ever create that kind of risk again, then just avoid that.
So it seems, I want to make sure I'm understanding fully. It seemed to you as though he was saying that that's a forever thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like that.
Okay. And just to be clear, if injury was not on the table, is that what you would want? Are you okay with that? Or would you like to be able to lift those heavy weights again?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if it's valuable for me anymore at this point. Like, I don't know if I need to. I used to do it because I thought it was going to, make me stronger in the ways that I wanted to be. But, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I've gotten to a point where I'm kind of really confused about what I need and what I don't need and what's going to be worthwhile.
Okay. What I would like to do with you, if it's okay, is over time, as opportunities present where I believe that it would be valuable for you to kind of get close to the edge of where you're comfortable being, I would love to have conversations with you before we do it, and even bring your doctor into it if they would be willing to come and have the conversations with us. And when I say come, I don't mean come here to the gym. I mean just come to the conversation. It could be over the phone. It could be a Zoom talk. It could be I go to their office. I want to make sure that we're keeping you safe, and I want to make sure I understand why the doctor set the guidelines that they did. I also want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do everything that you want to do that is safe and within limits for what you should be doing. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Great. That's it. The biggest mistake that I see coaches making to start is they rush to get that client to doing the thing that breaks the belief when the client is still in an inflammatory mental state.
Yeah. So instead of just giving your client a collection of wins that helps them, earn a ton of trust for you, or help you earn a ton of trust from them, you want to just rush to the thing that you already think is.
Yeah, it's almost like you feel yourself in a mental fist fight with the doctor, and you just got punched, and so you want to punch back. You want to say, "Oh yeah, 50 pounds? I'll show you, doc. Here's 100 pounds." And I know if you listened to the podcast before this one where we talked about us getting the client to 205 pounds, I understand why you feel that way. That was a totally different environment. That person had come in from out of state, was going to be with us for 2 days, and may never have the opportunity to do that again. So I was a little bit more aggressive with how I pushed it with her. And we assessed her, and I was a practicing doctor at the time.
And your partner was a practicing doctor at the
Yes.
time.
So there was a different level of credibility and experience than there might be with a coach who someone's been working with for a long time, and they don't understand that this coach has this knowledge.
To be perfectly clear, when you say a different level of credibility, this does not mean that you as a coach without letters after your name can't have a high degree of credibility. What you're trying to say is that the context is going to lend itself to the credibility.
Yeah.
If you just started working with someone who's upset about how they feel, there isn't enough trust and credibility long-term for them to be able to do something necessarily uncomfortable with you.
Coaches need to understand whether they like it or not. If they met two strangers, if a client met two strangers, one of them was a coach and one of them was a doctor, the client's going to believe the doctor. Probably 19 out of 20 times. That is reality. So just like we've talked about in the past, you can be overweight and be a fitness professional. You're going to have a harder time earning people's trust than the person who is not overweight. It doesn't mean you can't be great. It means that you have to do more work to earn the trust of the person you're trying to help and influence than the person who looks the way that they expect a trainer to look, than the doctor who has a degree that they expect means something above what your coaching licensure gives you.
So I was mentoring a couple of coaches in our higher education yesterday, and one of them used language that I immediately stopped, and I wanted all 12 people on the call to make sure we heard and we didn't use, and we could start to break beliefs around what needs to happen and form some new ones. And I hope he's listening to this. He said, what do you do when you're in a position where you have to pit your trust against the doctor's trust around your client? And I stopped. I was like, well, first of all, stop thinking that that's what has to happen, right? Because that's not the thing at all. So the question for you is, how do we create a more collaborative conversation around medical professionals and health and fitness professionals instead of feeling like it's me versus the doctor?
Go into the medical professional's office and look to learn. I think you said it to me a while ago, the idea that if you enter conversations looking to convince somebody instead of looking to learn from somebody, then you're never going to convince anybody of anything and you're never going to learn anything. So go to the doctor's office and let them know, hey, one of my clients comes here as a patient and I want to do the best job I possibly can to help them. Would it be possible for me to grab a little bit of time with you to ask some questions about how I can best service my client, understand why the limitations that you put in place have been put in place, understand how they get taken off, understand how long they last for. I want to get an education around the decisions that you're making on behalf of my client so that I can be an ally who helps you get the results that my client wants together. A decent doctor will sit down with you. It might not. Now, here's the next thing. You might want it now, and the doctor might make you wait 2 weeks. That's reasonable. Yeah. You need to understand that the world doesn't stop because you have a question. And a busy doctor, every minute that they're not seeing patients, frankly, they're losing money. And like it or not, that's business. So they will make time for you, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, 2 weeks from now. Say thank you and come prepared to ask questions and to learn. And don't think of that as the conversation. Think of it as the first conversation. Because when you go in and you create a conversation with a doctor or with any professional and you enter with the dialogue of an open mind looking to learn, that's a person who's going to want to have a second conversation with you, or at least be willing to have a second conversation with you. The more you can learn about your client's condition from the doctor, from their perspective, the more educated you can be about asking questions about what you can do to intervene with them based on knowledge around the condition that the doctor says they have. For example, I had a client one time, who had thrown himself off the back of a pickup truck and broken his fall with the back of his head. He was in a coma for, I don't want to get the wrong amount of time, but it was a month plus. College kid. He was a defensive end on his college football team. And when he came out of his coma, he had lost 60 pounds of muscle, pure atrophy. And he had to relearn how to talk. He had to relearn how to walk. And when he learned how to walk, he learned how to talk, he wanted to get back to being physically capable. And he came to me to train him, not to be his doctor, to be his trainer. And I wanted to make sure I didn't hurt this kid. I didn't know anything about his injuries. And despite the fact that I had a chiropractic degree and at the time, roughly 7 years of experience as a personal trainer, I didn't want to do anything that would be irresponsible and maybe hurt him. So I asked him to put me in contact with his doctors. And his doctor told me, no heavy weight, nothing that he has to push really hard on. I said, okay. Is that ever? What are we trying to avoid by avoiding heavy weight? And what I mean by that is, are we able to define heavy? Because this is a strong kid. How do we know what heavy is for him? And the doctor said, anytime he's unable to move at full speed with the weight you have on him, it's too heavy. So, okay, that's very, very helpful. I said,
beautiful guidelines.
Beautiful. I said, and what is it that we're trying to avoid in adding that heavy weight? He said, well, we're looking to avoid spiking his blood pressure because we don't know if there are still issues in his,
Some blood
in his
vessel
vascular
shit
system.
going on.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Stuff that frankly is over my head that I don't understand. I said, that's hugely helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I said, so I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. We want to avoid Valsalva maneuver in all respects. Yes. Okay. We want to avoid putting him upside down because while that won't increase systemic blood pressure, it might increase cranial
local
blood pressure, which is where his issues were. Yes. I'm really glad you brought that up. Yes. I said, great. And if we're going to have him work at high blood pressure, we want a gradual increase to it. And we want to measure how much time we spend there. Heart rate, blood pressure, all of that. Yes. Great. May I check in with you every 2 to 3 weeks to give you an update on the progress and get some further guidance from you on how I can help this client? Yes. It was great.
Perfectly done.
It was a great relationship. And it started with he can't lift heavy weights.
Sorry to be clear, I don't know if I missed it. This was his medical doctor, right?
This was his, I believe, his vascular surgeon.
His surgeon? Right.
It was either vascular or neuro. It was either the vascular surgeon or the neurosurgeon. I don't remember which one it was. But
The guy that made sure his brain didn't explode.
yeah. And it went from he's not allowed to lift heavy weight. Well, what's heavy weight? To
You choose the weights based on these guidelines.
yes.
Amazing.
And great on him, by the way, for being professional enough to
Brilliant.
describe that.
Yeah.
If he had said 50 pounds, I would have said, understood. May I ask you how you chose 50 pounds? What changes at 50 pounds so that I can understand?
What
Because
you want me to avoid.
Because if he's going to deadlift 50 pounds, that's one thing. But can I then have him press 50 pounds also? Is it 50 pounds universally? That doesn't make any sense. So what is the physiological response that we're looking to avoid with 50 pounds? What's the... When we understand that, we can have conversations about what we can do to avoid that physiological response that's going to put the person at risk.
And to be perfectly clear, you guys, coaches, are the only professionals in the world who are uniquely suited to program for and progress those physiological responses appropriately.
Yeah.
That's what you do. The reason they are telling you that is so that you can create those changes intelligently.
Mm-hmm. And then there comes the, okay, how much risk do we want to take here? You know, with a kid with a brain injury in his teens,
Probably a conservative.
none, right? I'm not going to push it. I don't need there to be a weight on my conscience that I killed a teenager because I wanted him to go heavier today. Unnecessary, radically unnecessary. With a 24-year-old woman in her prime who's been told she can't lift more than 50 pounds with no access to the doctor in those 2 days,
Send it.
I'm willing to go a little bit further. You know, and I'll ask her, what's your risk tolerance here?
Right.
If you end up needing back surgery because of what we do today, is that a worthwhile pursuit to find out if you can do what we want to do today?
And I imagine most people will probably fall somewhere in between.
She was like, yeah, exactly. But this one was like, fuck it, let's go. So we went. You know, but then after that, it was like, okay, well, you're not going to just deadlift 205 anymore. Like, we need to rebuild your acute workload and then rebuild the chronic workload, and then we'll get you where you need to go. But it's about respect. It's about understanding that you have a duty to re-earn that client's trust through education. And you have an opportunity to re-earn or to earn for the first time a doctor's trust, who may be your best ally ever in the future.
For those of you out here that I have spoken with who have had this issue, dozens of you have asked me, I hope you guys hear this. I hope you guys hear this. I hope you guys hear this. And if you know someone who has struggled with that issue or might be right now or probably will, send this to them.
One last thing I want to jump in on here, and that is the best way to solve this problem is to clear of your mindset that doctors are the bad guy. Doctors are not the bad guy. Clear from your mindset that doctors are the bad guy, that doctors are inept, that doctors are incapable. None of that's true. Mm-hmm. The doctor is making aggressive recommendations based on their belief of your knowledge, of your experience, to keep their patient safe. It's your job and your opportunity to demonstrate your knowledge, to demonstrate your experience to the doctor and to the client so that you can further their progression.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine 99.99999% of doctors are smart and well-intentioned. And if you can show them that what you are trying to do is reasonable and thought out and within the best, for the best intention of the client, and you guys can find alignment there, it's going to be easier for them to want to work with you on this.
I don't know if I go that many decimal points on the line, but yeah, we'll do it.
Turn progress out there.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Active Life Podcast. If you did, please be sure to head to wherever you listened to it and give us a quality review, as well as 5 stars if you can spare them. If you want more from us, feel free to follow all of our social media accounts at Active Life Professional, Active Life RX, and Dr. Sean Pastuch on Instagram. Remember, at Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym, and the healthcare provider of the future is the coach. We also believe that that future is now.